Imagine a realm of pure consciousness, untethered from physical reality, colors more vivid than anything on Earth, knowledge flowing freely, unrestricted by time or space. This is what Dr. Sarah Chen claims to have experienced during her 7 minutes of clinical death. As a neurosurgeon, Dr. Chen never believed in the afterlife. But the vivid, life-altering experience she had while flatlined has forced her to reconsider everything she thought she knew about the brain and consciousness. Dr. Sarah Chen's weekend kayaking trip began like any other. The crisp mountain air filled her lungs as she paddled through the serene waters of the river canyon. Towering pines lined the banks, their reflections shimmering on the water's surface. For Chen, these solo adventures were a welcome respite from the demanding world of neurosurgery. As she navigated a gentle bend in the river, Chen's mind drifted to her upcoming research project. The peacefulness of nature always seemed to spark her most innovative ideas. Little did she know, this tranquil outing was about to take a dramatic turn. Without warning, dark clouds rolled in overhead. The wind picked up, whipping the water's surface into a frenzy. Chen's years of kayaking experience kicked in as she attempted to steer towards the shore. But the once calm river had transformed into a raging torrent. As Chen approached a narrow section of the canyon, her heart raced. The roar of white water filled her ears. She gripped her paddle tightly, fighting to maintain control. Suddenly, her kayak struck a submerged rock, flipping her into the frigid water. The world around Chen became a blur of bubbles and rushing currents. Her medical training took over as she fought to orient herself underwater. She knew the dangers of cold water shock and the precious seconds she had before hypothermia would set in. Chen struggled against the powerful current, her lungs burning for air. She could see the surface above, tantalizingly close yet unreachable. As her vision began to dim, a strange calmness washed over her. Her last conscious thought was of her family, waiting for her return for 7 long minutes. Chen's body lay motionless in the water, trapped against a fallen tree. Her heart had stopped. By all medical definitions, she was clinically dead. But in those moments, something extraordinary was about to unfold. Rescue teams worked frantically to resuscitate her. Chen's consciousness began an inexplicable journey. She felt a sensation of weightlessness, as if being gently pulled away from her physical form. The pain and struggle of her last moments faded away, replaced by an overwhelming sense of peace. Chen found herself hovering above the chaotic scene below. She could see her own body, pale and lifeless, as paramedics performed CPR. But she felt no fear, no attachment to her physical self. Instead, she was drawn towards a brilliant, warm light that seemed to beckon her onwards. As Chen's consciousness drifted further from her body, she became aware of a vast, incomprehensible realm opening up before her. The boundaries of physical reality melted away, and she stood at the threshold of something far beyond her scientific understanding. Little did she know, this was just the beginning of a profound journey that would challenge everything she thought she knew about life, death, and the nature of consciousness itself. Imagine discovering that your entire understanding of existence was based on a fraction of what's truly possible. For Chen, this wasn't just imagination. It was about to become her new reality. What she encountered next would forever blur the line between life and death. As Chen's consciousness drifted away from her physical form, a wave of confusion washed over her. The familiar sensations of her body faded, replaced by an inexplicable lightness. She found herself suspended in a realm that defied description, surrounded by swirling patterns of energy and light that seemed to pulse with life. Chen's analytical mind struggled to make sense of her surroundings. As a neurosurgeon, she had always believed consciousness was inextricably tied to brain function. Yet here she was, acutely aware and perceiving a reality that shouldn't be possible according to everything she knew about neuroscience. The environment around Chen shifted and morphed, responding to her thoughts in ways that both fascinated and unsettled her. Streams of information flowed through her consciousness, carrying knowledge that seemed vast and ancient. She glimpsed fragments of universal truths, only to have them slip away before she could fully grasp their meaning. that as Chen attempted to rationalize her experience, she became aware of a presence, a consciousness far greater than her own. It seemed to envelop her, radiating a sense of profound understanding and compassion. Chen felt a mixture of awe and trepidation as she realized this entity held answers to questions she had never even thought to ask. The presence communicated without words, conveying concepts that stretched the limits of Chen's comprehension. It promised to reveal the true nature of existence, hinting at revelations that would challenge everything she thought she knew about reality, consciousness, and the fundamental forces that shape the universe. Chen's scientific mind raced, grappling with the implications of what she was experiencing. Could this be some elaborate hallucination produced by a dying brain? Or was she truly on the threshold of understanding something far beyond the reach of current scientific knowledge? As the presence began to unfold the first layers of its wisdom, Chen felt a sense of anticipation unlike anything she had ever known. She stood at the precipice of discoveries that could revolutionize human understanding of life, death, and the very fabric of reality itself. The journey that lay ahead would challenge her beliefs, expand her consciousness, and ultimately transform her in ways she could never have imagined. The presence spoke, and suddenly Chen understood why even the most brilliant minds on Earth had failed to unlock the secrets of consciousness. The answer was both elegantly simple and impossibly complex, hiding in plain sight, yet beyond our current scientific reach. As the entity began to share its knowledge, Chen felt a profound shift in her understanding. The presence conveyed that consciousness was not merely a byproduct of neural activity, but a fundamental force of the universe itself. This revelation shook Chen to her core. Challenging everything she had learned and practiced as a neurosurgeon, the entity explained that consciousness permeated all of existence, from the tiniest subatomic particles to the vast expanses of the cosmos. It was the underlying fabric that connected all things, transcending the limitations of time and space. Chen struggled to reconcile this information with her scientific training, which had always placed consciousness firmly within the confines of the brain. As the presence continued, Chen learned that all conscious entities were interconnected through this universal field. Thoughts, emotions, and experiences weren't isolated within individual minds, but part of a vast, intricate network. This realization made Chen question the very nature of individuality and free will. The implications of this knowledge began to unfold in Chen's mind. If consciousness was indeed a fundamental force, it could potentially explain phenomena that had long puzzled scientists, from the observer effect in quantum mechanics to the emergence of complex, self-organizing systems in nature. Chen's analytical mind raced to process this information. She realized that current scientific models, while invaluable, were severely limited in their ability to explain the true nature of consciousness. The tools and methods used to study the brain, no matter how advanced, were insufficient to capture the full scope of this universal force. As the presence continued to share its wisdom, Chen felt a growing sense of anticipation. She understood that this knowledge had the potential to revolutionize not just neuroscience, but physics, philosophy, and our entire understanding of reality. It could bridge the gap between science and spirituality, offering a unified theory of existence that had eluded humanity for millennia. The magnitude of this revelation was almost overwhelming. Chen realized that her entire perception of reality would need to shift to accommodate this new understanding. The boundaries between self and other, between mind and matter, began to blur. She saw the world not as a collection of separate entities, but as a complex, interconnected web of consciousness. As the presence's teachings came to an end, Chen found herself at a crossroads. She knew that integrating this knowledge into her scientific worldview would be challenging, perhaps even impossible within the current paradigms of human understanding. Yet she also recognized the immense potential for growth and discovery that lay ahead. Chen's mind buzzed with questions and possibilities. How could this new understanding of consciousness be applied to medicine, particularly in treating neurological disorders? What implications did it have for human potential and the development of technologies that could harness this universal force? As she contemplated these questions, Chen realized that her journey of discovery was only just beginning. As Chen's mind grappled with the revelations about consciousness, her perception suddenly expanded beyond anything she could have imagined. The familiar boundaries of time and space began to dissolve around her, revealing a reality that defied her scientific understanding. Chen found herself immersed in a realm where past, present, and future coexisted simultaneously. She witnessed events from Earth's distant past unfolding alongside glimpses of potential futures. The linear progression of time that had always seemed so fundamental to her existence now appeared as a limited perspective, a mere fraction of a much grander tapestry. As she struggled to process the vast amount of information flooding her awareness, Chen realized that her human brain was ill-equipped to fully comprehend this multidimensional reality. She saw how events separated by centuries were intricately connected, their outcomes influencing each other across what she had previously perceived as insurmountable temporal barriers. The nature of physical space, too, revealed itself to be far more flexible than Chen had ever imagined. Distance seemed to lose all meaning as she observed how consciousness could bridge vast cosmic expanses instantaneously. She saw how the fabric of reality responded to thought and intention, bending and reshaping itself in ways that challenged her understanding of cause and effect. Chen's scientific mind raced to make sense of these observations. Could the malleable nature of this realm explain phenomena like quantum entanglement or the observer effect? She began to see how the rigid constructs of Newtonian physics were merely approximations, useful models that captured only a fraction of reality's true nature. As the implications of this knowledge unfolded, Chen felt a surge of excitement tinged with trepidation. If time and space were indeed this flexible at a fundamental level, what did that mean for humanity's understanding of the universe? How might this knowledge revolutionize fields like physics, cosmology, and even philosophy? She contemplated the potential applications of this insight. Could humanity one day learn to navigate these higher dimensions, transcending the limitations of physical reality? What ethical considerations would arise from such capabilities? The possibilities seemed both thrilling and overwhelming. Yet even as these grand concepts swirled through her consciousness, Chen became aware of a deeper truth emerging. Beyond the intellectual fascination of these revelations, she sensed an underlying emotional and spiritual significance that was about to unfold. The true impact of this experience, she realized, would go far beyond scientific understanding. It promised to touch the very core of what it meant to be human, challenging her perceptions of self, others, and the interconnected web of existence. As this realization dawned, Chen felt herself being drawn towards yet another aspect of this extraordinary realm. The intellectual wonder of transcending time and space began to give way to something even more profound, an emotional landscape unlike anything she had ever experienced. Imagine a world where you could touch happiness, where grief had a taste, and where love was as tangible as the device you're holding right now. As Chen's journey continued, she discovered that this wasn't just imagination. It was the deepest truth of existence. The moment Chen entered this new realm of consciousness, she was enveloped by an overwhelming sense of unconditional acceptance. It was as if the entire universe had wrapped its arms around her, welcoming her home. This profound feeling of belonging transcended anything she had experienced in her physical life, leaving her momentarily stunned by its intensity. As Chen adjusted to this new emotional landscape, she found herself grappling with the sheer power of these experiences. Joy wasn't just a fleeting sentiment. It was a force that radiated through her very being. Compassion took on a physical presence, flowing between consciousnesses like a gentle river. Even more challenging emotions like sorrow and regret had substance, appearing as intricate patterns that could be examined and understood. In this realm, Chen observed how emotions weren't simply abstract concepts or chemical reactions in the brain. They were fundamental building blocks of reality, as real and measurable as time and space. Love, she realized, was a force as powerful as gravity, binding consciousnesses together across vast distances. Empathy acted as a conduit, allowing the transfer of experiences and understanding between beings. That as Chen delved deeper into this emotional fabric of existence, she gained profound insights into the role these forces played in shaping reality. She saw how collective emotions could influence the course of events, how individual acts of kindness created ripples that extended far beyond their origin. The interconnectedness of all beings became startlingly clear, each emotion forming part of a vast, cosmic tapestry that Chen's mind raced with the potential implications of this knowledge. If emotions were indeed this tangible and influential, how might it change the way humans interact with each other? Could this understanding lead to new forms of communication, transcending language and cultural barriers? The possibilities for healing emotional traumas and fostering deeper connections seemed limitless. As these revelations unfolded, Chen felt a growing sense of anticipation. She realized that integrating this emotional wisdom into human society could revolutionize fields like psychology, conflict resolution, and even global politics. The potential for fostering empathy on a massive scale, for healing ancient wounds between individuals and nations, was both exhilarating and humbling. In a moment of clarity, Chen understood the true healing potential of this emotional knowledge. It wasn't just about treating individual mental health issues. It was about transforming the very fabric of human relationships. By recognizing the tangible power of emotions, humanity could learn to harness these forces for collective growth and harmony. As Chen absorbed these profound truths, she sensed yet another layer of understanding beginning to unfold. The emotional landscape she had explored was intimately connected to something even more fundamental: the moral and ethical foundations of existence itself. With a mixture of anticipation and trepidation, Chen prepared herself for the next phase of her extraordinary journey, knowing that what she was about to learn would challenge her understanding of right and wrong in ways she could never have imagined. Have you ever wondered if there's a universal moral code woven into the fabric of reality itself? Chen was about to discover that the answer to this question would shake the very foundations of her beliefs and force her to confront the true weight of human choice. As the presence began to unfold the underlying principles of existence, Chen felt a profound shift in her understanding. The entity revealed that morality wasn't just a human construct, but an intrinsic part of the universe itself. Every action, every decision, created ripples that extended far beyond the immediate consequences she had previously considered. Chen found herself confronting her own past actions and decisions with a new perspective. Memories of difficult choices she had made as a neurosurgeon flooded her consciousness. She saw how each decision had set off a chain reaction, affecting not just her patients, but their families, communities, and even people she had never met. The weight of this realization was both humbling and terrifying. The presence guided Chen through a tapestry of interconnected lives and events. She witnessed how a simple act of kindness could spark a chain of positive outcomes, while a moment of selfishness or indifference could lead to unforeseen suffering. Chen began to understand that every being was inextricably linked, their actions and experiences weaving together to form the very fabric of reality. As this knowledge settled into her consciousness, Chen felt a growing sense of responsibility. The implications of this interconnectedness were staggering. If every choice had such far-reaching consequences, how could anyone navigate the complexities of life with certainty? She grappled with the enormity of this ethical landscape, recognizing the potential for both tremendous good and unintended harm in every decision. The presence sensed Chen's internal struggle and conveyed a deeper truth. It revealed that the purpose of life was not to achieve perfection in every choice, but to grow in understanding and compassion through the exercise of free will. Chen realized that this freedom to choose was both a profound gift and a weighty responsibility. As the full implications of this knowledge unfolded, Chen felt a mixture of awe and trepidation. She understood that integrating this ethical framework into her life would require a complete reevaluation of her priorities and actions. The potential for personal growth was immense, but so too was the challenge of living with this heightened awareness. Just as Chen began to grasp the enormity of these ethical revelations, she sensed another shift in her consciousness. The presence was guiding her towards yet another fundamental aspect of existence. She felt herself being drawn into an understanding of life and death as part of a much larger, cyclical process. The boundaries between beginnings and endings began to blur, hinting at a continuity of existence that transcended her previous understanding of mortality. The Presence's revelations shifted once more, guiding Chen towards a profound understanding of life, death, and the cyclical nature of existence. As a neurosurgeon, Chen had always viewed death as a final endpoint, the cessation of brain activity and consciousness. But what the entity revealed next challenged everything she thought she knew about mortality. The Presence showed Chen that consciousness doesn't simply blink out of existence when the physical body dies. Instead, it continues on a journey far beyond the limitations of our earthly understanding. Chen witnessed how the essence of a being persisted, evolving and growing through multiple existences. This continuity of consciousness transcended the boundaries of individual lifetimes, weaving a tapestry of experiences that spanned eons. Chen struggled to reconcile this revelation with her medical training. She began to see how each physical life served a greater purpose. The challenges, joys, and sorrows of earthly existence weren't random or meaningless. They were carefully crafted experiences, each one offering opportunities for growth and understanding. Chen realized that the human lifetime she had always considered so precious was just one chapter in an ongoing story of consciousness. The implications of this knowledge began to unfold in Chen's mind. If consciousness truly persisted beyond death, how might this change our approach to end-of-life care? The fear and grief that often accompany death suddenly seemed misplaced, based on a limited understanding of existence. Chen saw how this revelation could bring comfort to those facing mortality and transform the way we support the dying. The Presence guided her deeper into this understanding. Chen gained insight into the purpose behind the cycle of life and death. Each incarnation offered unique lessons and experiences, contributing to the overall evolution of consciousness. The physical world, with all its limitations and challenges, served as a training ground for the soul. Chen realized that even the most difficult life experiences held value in this greater context. The potential impact of this knowledge on human society was staggering. Chen imagined how it could reshape our priorities, our relationships, and our understanding of what it means to live a meaningful life. The artificial divisions between people based on race, nationality, or belief system seemed trivial in the face of this universal journey of consciousness. As Chen absorbed these profound truths, she felt a mixture of awe and responsibility. This understanding of the cycle of existence had the power to transform humanity's relationship with life and death. It offered hope in the face of loss and purpose in the midst of suffering. Yet Chen also recognized the challenge of conveying such a radical perspective to a world often focused on immediate, tangible concerns. Just as Chen began to grasp the full implications of this cosmic cycle, she sensed another shift in her awareness. The Presence was guiding her towards yet another revelation, one that would bring her extraordinary journey full circle. Chen felt herself being drawn back towards her physical form, the boundary between the spiritual and material worlds growing thin once more. She braced herself for the transition, knowing that the return to her earthly existence would bring its own set of challenges and discoveries. Chen's consciousness hurtled back towards her physical form, the boundary between worlds thinning rapidly. As the veil lifted, she braced herself for the collision of spiritual insight and earthly reality. How much of her profound revelations would survive the journey? The answer was about to unfold in ways she could never have imagined. The transition was jarring, like being yanked from a vivid dream into harsh daylight. Chen's senses, which had expanded beyond mortal limits, now struggled to readjust to the confines of her physical body. The infinite wisdom she had touched began to slip away, leaving only fragments and echoes in her mind. As her eyes fluttered open, Chen was assaulted by a cacophony of sensations. The icy water that had nearly claimed her life now felt like needles against her skin. Voices echoed around her, urgent and muffled. Her lungs burned as she gasped for air, each breath a reminder of her return to the material world. The rescue team worked frantically, their faces etched with a mixture of relief and concern. Chen tried to speak, to share the extraordinary knowledge she had gained, but her words came out as incoherent mumbles. The frustration of being unable to articulate her experience was overwhelming. How could she possibly convey the vastness of what she had witnessed? As the paramedics assessed her condition, Chen's mind raced. The profound truths about consciousness, time, and the nature of existence seemed to be fading with each passing moment. She desperately clung to the remnants of her otherworldly journey. Knowing that what she had learned could revolutionize human understanding, the physical disorientation was intense. Chen's body felt alien to her, heavy and cumbersome after experiencing existence as pure consciousness. Every movement was an effort, as if she were relearning how to inhabit her own form. The dichotomy between her recent spiritual freedom and her current physical limitations was stark and unsettling. As Chen was lifted onto a stretcher, a sense of anticipation began to build within her. She realized that her greatest challenge lay ahead. How would she integrate this life-altering experience into her role as a neurosurgeon? The implications for her work, her relationships, and her entire worldview were staggering, despite the physical discomfort and mental confusion. Chen felt a profound sense of purpose taking root. She understood that her near-death experience was not just a personal journey, but a gateway to knowledge that could transform humanity's understanding of life and death. The weight of this realization was both exhilarating and daunting. As the ambulance doors closed and Chen began her journey to the hospital, she knew that her true odyssey was just beginning. The process of recovery would be more than just physical healing. It would be a quest to bridge two worlds and bring back insights that could change everything. With each passing moment, Chen's determination grew. She had been given a gift, a glimpse beyond the veil, and she was resolved to use it to its fullest potential. As Chen lay in her hospital bed, the sterile white walls a stark contrast to the vibrant realm she had experienced, her analytical mind began to wrestle with the implications of her near-death journey. The neurosurgeon in her sought logical explanations, attempting to rationalize the profound visions as mere hallucinations caused by a dying brain. Yet, the clarity and intensity of her experience refused to be dismissed so easily. In the quiet hours of her recovery, Chen found herself caught between two worlds. Her scientific training urged her to seek empirical evidence, to question and doubt. But the memory of the universal consciousness she had touched lingered, a persistent whisper that challenged everything she thought she knew about the nature of reality. Determined to understand, Chen began to delve into research on near-death experiences and consciousness studies. She pored over accounts from other survivors, noting striking similarities to her own journey. The scientific literature, however, offered little consensus. Some researchers proposed physiological explanations, while others hinted at the possibility of consciousness existing beyond the brain. As Chen's physical strength returned, her inner conflict intensified. She struggled with the decision of whether to share her experience with colleagues. The fear of ridicule and professional ostracism weighed heavily on her mind. Yet, a part of her yearned to explore the implications of her newfound knowledge, to push the boundaries of neuroscience into uncharted territory. In her hospital room, Chen found herself staring at her reflection, barely recognizing the woman looking back at her. The experience had changed her in ways she was only beginning to understand. How could she return to her practice, to cutting into brains and treating consciousness as merely a product of neural activity, when she had witnessed its vast, interconnected nature? The anticipation of how this revelation would affect her medical practice grew with each passing day. Chen imagined standing in the operating room, her hands steady, but her mind grappling with the knowledge that the person before her was more than just a physical body. How would this understanding influence her decisions, her interactions with patients, her approach to healing? After much internal debate, Chen made a decision. She would cautiously explore integrating her new knowledge into her work. It would be a delicate balance, maintaining her scientific rigor while opening herself to possibilities beyond the current paradigm. She resolved to approach her research with an open mind, seeking to bridge the gap between her mystical experience and the world of empirical science. Chen prepared to leave the hospital. she sensed that her journey was far from over. The challenges ahead were daunting, but she felt a newfound sense of purpose. Her near-death experience had opened a door, and she was determined to step through it, no matter where it might lead. Little did she know, the true impact of her transformation was about to ripple through every aspect of her life, reshaping her relationships and her very understanding of what it meant to be human. Chen's return to her everyday life was anything but ordinary. As she stepped back into her familiar world, everything seemed to pulse with a newfound energy. The streets she had walked countless times before now revealed hidden layers of interconnectedness. Chen found herself pausing to observe the intricate dance of life around her, from the subtle interactions between strangers to the complex ecosystems thriving in urban parks. Initially, Chen struggled to communicate her transformative experience to friends and family. Her attempts to describe the profound revelations she had encountered often fell short, leaving her feeling isolated and misunderstood. Everyday conversations about work, politics, or mundane concerns suddenly felt hollow and disconnected from the greater truths she had glimpsed. Chen's perspective on her medical practice shifted dramatically. As she returned to the operating room, she found herself acutely aware of the consciousness inhabiting each patient's physical form. The act of surgery took on a new dimension as Chen considered the intricate web of connections between the mind, body, and spirit. She began to approach her work with a heightened sense of reverence and responsibility that in her personal relationships. Chen noticed a deepening of emotional connections. Her newfound understanding of the interconnectedness of all beings allowed her to approach conflicts and misunderstandings with greater empathy and patience. Friends and family remarked on her increased presence and ability to truly listen. Though they couldn't quite pinpoint the source of this change, as Chen integrated her near-death experience into her daily life, she began to notice subtle aspects of reality she had previously overlooked. The play of light and shadow, the rhythms of nature, and the ebb and flow of human emotions all took on new significance. She found herself drawn to moments of quiet contemplation, seeking to reconnect with the profound sense of unity she had experienced beyond the veil of physical existence. Despite these profound shifts in her perception, Chen grappled with feelings of purpose and direction. How could she use her extraordinary experience to benefit others? The weight of the knowledge she carried often felt overwhelming. Yet she sensed a growing responsibility to share her insights in a meaningful way. Gradually, Chen began to find a balance between her scientific training and her spiritual awakening. She approached her research with renewed vigor, seeking to bridge the gap between empirical observation and the expansive nature of consciousness she had witnessed. Her colleagues noted a shift in her approach, as she began to propose innovative studies that pushed the boundaries of traditional neuroscience. As Chen navigated this new chapter of her life, she felt a profound sense of connection to the world around her. The once sharp boundaries between work, relationships, and personal growth began to blur, revealing an interconnected tapestry of experience. She found herself approaching each day with a sense of wonder and purpose, eager to explore the depths of human consciousness and its place in the grand design of the universe. With this newfound perspective, Chen set her sights on a bold new goal: to create a framework that could bridge the worlds of science and spirituality, offering a holistic approach to understanding the human experience. Little did she know, this ambitious endeavor would soon catapult her into uncharted territory, challenging the very foundations of scientific inquiry and human understanding. In the world of neuroscience, facts reign supreme, and the unexplained is often dismissed. So when Dr. Chen proposed a radical new framework combining her scientific expertise with insights from her near-death experience, she knew she was in for an uphill battle. How could she prove that the ineffable could be measured, and that the spiritual realm held tangible implications for our understanding of the brain? Chen began by cautiously introducing new perspectives in her research papers. She framed her ideas as hypotheses, carefully backed by existing literature on consciousness studies and near-death experiences. Her first published article proposed a model of consciousness that extended beyond the physical confines of the brain, suggesting a field of awareness that interacted with, but was not solely produced by, neural activity, the response from her colleagues was swift and divided. Some embraced Chen's innovative approach, seeing it as a fresh perspective on long-standing questions about consciousness. Others, however, were openly skeptical. At conferences, Chen faced pointed questions and thinly veiled criticism. "Dr. Chen, are you suggesting we abandon decades of established neuroscience?" One colleague asked during a particularly tense Q&A session. Undeterred, Chen pressed forward. She developed new experimental protocols designed to probe the boundaries of consciousness. One study involved measuring brain activity in meditation practitioners who reported out-of-body experiences. Another examined the neural correlates of shared consciousness in twins. Each experiment pushed the envelope of traditional neuroscience, challenging assumptions about the nature of awareness and perception. As her work progressed, Chen found allies in unexpected places. She began collaborating with researchers from diverse fields: quantum physicists exploring consciousness at the subatomic level, anthropologists studying altered states of consciousness in indigenous cultures, and even computer scientists working on artificial intelligence. These interdisciplinary partnerships led to novel approaches in studying the mind-brain connection. One of Chen's most controversial projects involved attempting to measure consciousness in patients in vegetative states. Using advanced brain imaging techniques combined with innovative sensory stimulation methods, her team claimed to detect signs of awareness in patients previously thought to be completely unresponsive. The implications for medical ethics and end-of-life care were profound. As Chen's research gained traction, anticipation built in both scientific and spiritual communities. Could her work finally provide a bridge between the subjective experience of consciousness and objective scientific measurement? The potential for breakthroughs in understanding the nature of human awareness seemed tantalizingly close. Gradually, Chen's persistence began to pay off. Her papers were published in increasingly prestigious journals. Invitations to speak at major conferences flooded in. Even some of her harshest critics begrudgingly acknowledged the value of her unconventional approach. Chen's work was sparking new areas of study and inspiring a generation of young researchers to explore the frontiers of consciousness. As recognition for her contributions grew, Chen found herself standing at the threshold of a new era in neuroscience. The implications of her research extended far beyond academia, promising to reshape our understanding of the human mind and its place in the universe. But as Chen prepared to share her findings with the world, she couldn't help but wonder: was humanity ready for the profound truths she had uncovered? What if everything we thought we knew about the nature of reality was fundamentally wrong? Dr. Chen's work wasn't just challenging scientific dogma. It was laying the foundation for a revolution in human knowledge that would touch every aspect of our lives. As word of Chen's groundbreaking research spread, scientists from diverse fields began to take notice. Physicists, psychologists, and even philosophers found themselves drawn to her unconventional approaches to understanding consciousness. Chen's integration of her near-death experience with rigorous scientific inquiry sparked a new wave of interdisciplinary collaboration. The scientific community, however, was far from united in its reception of Chen's work. Heated debates erupted at conferences and in academic journals. Some hailed Chen as a visionary, pushing the boundaries of human knowledge. Others dismissed her findings as pseudoscience, arguing that subjective experiences had no place in empirical research. Undeterred by the controversy, Chen continued to refine her theories. She proposed new models for understanding consciousness that extended beyond the confines of the human brain. Her work suggested that awareness might be a fundamental property of the universe, akin to energy or matter. This radical perspective challenged long-held assumptions about the nature of reality itself. Chen's influence began to seep into various scientific disciplines. In medicine, her insights led to new approaches in treating patients in altered states of consciousness. Psychologists incorporated her findings into therapies for trauma and addiction. Even cutting-edge physics research began to explore the potential role of consciousness in quantum phenomena. As Chen's ideas gained traction, a sense of anticipation built within the scientific community and beyond. Could her work lead to a fundamental shift in our understanding of human existence? The implications were staggering. If consciousness truly extended beyond the physical brain, it could revolutionize our concepts of life, death, and the very nature of reality. Gradually, Chen's once controversial theories began to spark a paradigm shift in science. Researchers across disciplines started to question long-held assumptions and explore new avenues of inquiry. The rigid boundaries between scientific fields began to blur, giving rise to entirely new areas of study. Chen's journey from skeptical neurosurgeon to pioneer of consciousness research had come full circle. Her near-death experience, once a source of personal confusion and doubt, had become a catalyst for transforming scientific understanding. As Chen reflected on this extraordinary turn of events, she realized that her work was opening doors to realms of knowledge previously thought to be beyond human reach. But Chen knew that the true impact of her discoveries would extend far beyond the halls of academia. As she prepared to share her findings with the wider world, she pondered how these new perspectives on consciousness and reality might reshape society itself. The journey of discovery was far from over. In many ways, it was just beginning. As Dr. Chen's groundbreaking theories burst from the confines of academia, they ignited a firestorm of public interest. Her story, first shared in a small medical journal, caught the attention of a science reporter from a major news outlet. Soon, Chen found herself thrust into the spotlight, her near-death experience and subsequent research becoming the subject of intense media scrutiny. Television interviews, newspaper articles, and viral social media posts thrust Chen's insights into the public consciousness. People from all walks of life found themselves captivated by her account of consciousness beyond the brain and the implications it held for our understanding of life and death. The reaction was far from uniform. Some embraced Chen's revelations with open arms, finding comfort and hope in the idea of consciousness extending beyond physical existence. Others reacted with skepticism, questioning the validity of her experience and the scientific rigor of her research. As the debate raged on, Chen's work began to influence discussions far beyond the realm of neuroscience. Ethicists grappled with the implications of her findings for end-of-life care and the definition of death itself. Healthcare professionals started to reconsider their approach to patients in comatose or vegetative states, incorporating the possibility of persistent consciousness into their treatment protocols. In the field of education, Chen's insights sparked a renewed interest in teaching mindfulness and exploring the nature of consciousness. Some progressive schools began incorporating meditation and awareness practices into their curricula. Citing Chen's research on the expansive nature of human consciousness, Chen found herself increasingly called upon to speak at conferences and events outside the scientific community. She became an advocate for integrating spiritual insights with scientific inquiry, arguing that a holistic approach was necessary to fully understand the nature of human existence. As her influence grew, Chen noticed a shift in societal attitudes towards life and death. People began to question long-held assumptions about the finality of death and the nature of consciousness. Conversations about mortality took on new dimensions, with many finding solace in the possibility of continued awareness beyond physical existence. The impact of Chen's work extended into unexpected areas. Artists and writers found inspiration in her descriptions of expanded consciousness, creating works that explored the boundaries between life and death. Some religious leaders embraced her findings as scientific validation of long-held spiritual beliefs, while others saw them as a challenge to traditional doctrines. As Chen's ideas permeated society, a sense of anticipation built. Could her work lead to a fundamental shift in how humanity viewed its place in the universe? The possibilities seemed both exhilarating and daunting. Chen's experience had indeed sparked a wider conversation about the nature of reality, one that transcended cultural and ideological boundaries. As she prepared for her next public appearance, Chen couldn't help but wonder where this journey would lead next. The ripples of her near-death experience continued to spread, touching lives and challenging perceptions in ways she never could have imagined. Dr. Sarah Chen's near-death experience has left an indelible mark on science and society, challenging our fundamental understanding of consciousness and reality. Her journey from skeptical neurosurgeon to pioneering researcher has sparked a revolution in how we perceive the boundaries between life and death. Chen's work has bridged the gap between empirical science and spiritual insight, opening new avenues of inquiry across diverse fields. Chen's revelations continue to ripple through academia and popular culture. We find ourselves at the threshold of a new era in human knowledge, Her research has not only expanded our scientific understanding, but also touched the lives of countless individuals, offering hope and a renewed sense of purpose. Yet, this journey of discovery is far from over. Chen's work has raised as many questions as it has answered, inviting us to explore the depths of human consciousness with fresh eyes and open minds. As we stand on the brink of these new frontiers, we must ask ourselves, how will our evolving understanding of consciousness reshape our perception of reality and our place in the universe?